You guys, okay, there we go. At least now I can see us.
Okay, good. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. Okay, cool. All right. Now, what I thought was going to be like a nice little intro picture is just smack dab in the middle. So I'm going to see if I can get rid of that. Hi.
Hi.
I'm so sorry that I've used this before too, although I upgraded it thinking, oh,
Oh,
we're going to get some fancy features and we're going to be fancy. And then here we are with issues. So let me just get the comments going. Are you able to see the comments?
I am. It says private chat. Oh, let me go to comments. Sorry, here we go.
I know that on Facebook they make people like register to be able to comment. There's Kristen. Hi, Kristen. But on YouTube, people should be able to comment. So what I am going to be doing really quickly is just trying to get rid of our faces, even though we want you to see us. I didn't realize that was going to just stay there like that. So let me go to hide that. Maybe. Let me see. Um, Well, I'm so excited to meet you. I'm distracted because I'm trying to get
Trying to get
a
my
better
face.
setup.
There I am.
Yeah. Just go put yourself all the way in the corner. Wait, I have to go this way. Okay. So everybody that's jumping on, hello, hello. Now, when I did my unboxing video, I'm pretty sure I mispronounced your name. Which
Lalania.
Lilane.
Lalania, Korea.
I mean, like such a beautiful name, and I am a stickler for wanting to pronounce things correctly because my name Rhiannon gets mispronounced a lot, which
Mhm.
is fine. It doesn't bother me, but I really always try to like think about it, and it just flew out of my mouth. And then I got done doing the unboxing. I'm like, wait a minute, that is not at all how, because there's an extra L there, and I can't remember how I said it, but I think I said, what did I say, Laliana?
Most likely, people usually call me Lalania, Laliana, or Lena.
Lalania. Okay, and then say it one more time.
Lalania.
Lalania. Oh my gosh, beautiful. Lalania Simone. Okay, so you guys, I'm so happy that people are getting on. I'm going to try to get this um, banner off here really quickly. That's annoying. I've got a lot of questions to ask you, but while I'm figuring this out, I want to congratulate you. I've seen that your Oracle is completely funded, like 2 times the amount that you had wanted for the
It is.
picture.
It's almost at 200. It's almost at 200%. And then,
Yeah,
um,
and you still have 20 something days to go.
mhm.
Yes. So this is why this is a good time to do this because we want to direct people towards that. We of course love Oracle and Tarot, but some of the stuff that I was going to ask you about is I don't know if you've ever noticed that there sometimes is like a little bit of a hierarchy in the divination world where some people still kind of poo poo on Oracle, I feel like,
Mhm.
which I'm not a fan of because I love both systems. And I
Yes.
think they both bring something really important to the table. So I love when creators are doing both tarot and oracle because they both are, I love both.
Well,
So
I actually own a metaphysical shop, and we sell
oh my
tons
gosh.
of tarot and
What is
oracle.
it? What is it called? And do you have a website? And I'll make sure and put these things in the comments of the YouTube video.
Yes, it's called Alchemy Ritual Goods, and it's
I'm gonna
in
have to make a trip to Colorado.
yes, it's in Denver, Colorado,
Alchemy, what
and
goods?
and we sell a lot of tarot and oracle decks, and we have people coming in who are interested, who want to get their first deck, and they don't always know which way to go. Which
Right.
should they select tarot? Should they select oracle deck? And I always, for people who aren't really sure and they don't really know the difference, I sent them to the oracle decks
Yeah.
because I feel like tarot is really complicated.
Yes.
Um, it's very structured and it's
Yes.
somewhat limited in its ability to bring across some really expansive concepts, I think, unless the reader is particularly gifted and really has um,
Did
the
you
ability to.
did you start with tarot before oracle?
I did, but I didn't really learn the tarot until much later. I
Me
didn't know
too.
the
So I
difference.
I got my first tarot deck when I was 17 or 18. I can't remember. This is like
Mhm.
95 or 96. And it was the Mythic Tarot. There wasn't as many decks back then. And I knew that I was drawn to it, but we didn't have the internet yet. There was no way to learn these things.
Mhm.
And I had it, and I did all the things, and I slept with it, and I tried to put all my energy into it and all the things, and it just never clicked. And then I started working with Oracle like in 2014 or 2015, somewhere in there. And that opened up my intuition, just blew it open. And then I went to learn tarot, and it finally clicked
Mhm. Yeah.
because
So
I
for
feel
me,
like you trust
it was
yourself
kind of
more.
the opposite. I when I opened my shop, several readers and psychics were saying to me that it was really important that I learn the tarot.
Hmm.
And so I decided to apply myself to that process. I was kind of daunted, and I decided to apply myself to it, and then I fell in love with it. Um, and so I've I've always loved them both, and the tarot is what I read because I feel like I have a, a grasp of it in
Right.
a different way, and because each oracle deck is so different, and they that's what I love about them is that the artist, whoever the artist is, can create this whole
Yes. The
deck,
theme,
meanings
the
and
energy, the
everything.
intention.
Mhm,
Whereas tarot, at least I feel like we want to have a respect for it and honor the system for what it is and
mhm,
take the time. I find that I go to using my oracle more for ritual and setting an altar. I don't know if anybody can see. I've got an altar back here right now for Mercury retrograde. Like I'll use it to set the scene and pull in the energy. I will sometimes use it for readings, but mostly just for myself for like inner work because I find when I read tarot for myself, it's harder for me to be objective.
mhm,
An
yeah.
oracle I can do for myself. Tarot I rarely read for myself, but I are you in any tarot communities on Facebook?
Um, I am, but I'm not really very good with the social media.
Good.
I'm in
If I
some,
didn't have my group, I would probably not be on Facebook anymore. But when I started joining these different tarot communities, if you even use the word oracle, it's like, no. Some are becoming a little bit more inclusive now, but it is like very much a line drawn in the sand where you're either a
Mhm,
tarot person or an oracle person. And I just think that that is unfortunate,
yeah.
honestly. But okay, well, I guess we're just going to make this work sticking to our sides of the screen here because we don't want to waste time trying to get rid of it. But the first question that I had wanted to ask you is I always like to know what people's uh, big three are on their astrology so that I can understand. I would assume you have some big water or air placements with your creativity, but I could be wrong.
So I'm Aries, Gemini moon, and Leo rising.
Nice. I'm a Leo moon and an Aries rising,
Hmm,
Capricorn sun.
okay.
So we have some similar energies there. Let's see who has come on to say hi. We've got Kristen, Tarot Destroyer. Oh, well, I think we have maybe a our first troll. They're not here to destroy tarot in a good way. They're here to just talk shit, which is whatever. We won't give them any of our energy. Okay, so Aries Sun, Gemini Moon, and Leo Rising.
Um, Gemini, yep, you got it.
I think my granddaughter that was just born is a Gemini Moon, and I've heard a lot of really good things as far as like intuitive gifts with a Gemini Moon that I'm going to have to look into. When did you start getting into divination?
My mom gave me a deck when I was pretty young. I don't remember exactly when, but I think it was either Daughters of the Moon. I think Daughters of the Moon was the first one she gave me.
I don't. I'm gonna have to look that one up too because I collect a lot of older decks too, and I don't
Yeah,
even
I
think
went
I've
on
ever seen that.
many years ago. It's one of the circular decks.
Oh, I don't have. Well, I have one past life oracle that's a circle deck. I don't have any circular tarot decks yet. I do want some. Um, and I wanted you because the Oracle. Now I don't know if you have any. Did you have like a prototype deck that you're able to show at all any of the cards? I didn't know
Oh,
if you
for
had
the,
one.
Oracle? No, I don't have that yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to have one. Once this is complete, I'm
The
going
patience that you would have to create something and then have to wait for everybody else to see it. I don't
well, I
know.
know, because I did the tarot deck and the tarot deck Kickstarter, about a year ago, and I went through that process, and
Yeah,
I a prototype deck made, and it just wasn't very good quality to get that turned around really quickly
the
because
prototype wasn't.
yeah, and even the prototype for my printer wasn't that good because they
Because
use
I
different.
think the quality of the deck is amazing. Like
It's so
I
good.
so good. The
Yes, and
box
so that's
is
gonna be my
amazing.
same printer, but,
You are
I'm
okay.
gonna be able to get the prototype from them, at a reasonable price. They don't make me one deck at a reasonable price, so I'd have to, come out for several $100s to make that, and
Right.
it still wouldn't be, the same quality as it's gonna be when it's ready, and so I'm just gonna wait and trust and,
Mhm.
um, wait till it's.
When is your because I'm backing the Oracle for sure. I have it pulled up, but I didn't notice. Does it say when the projected delivery is on that?
So, yeah, so we are, once this is complete, it should be about a 2-month turnaround, so I expect
Mm.
it honestly, I put March, but I
Fabulous.
I expect it in February.
I'm not it's hard, not hard, it's good. I'm happy that the turnaround times are starting to come back because during COVID, like printing got shut off, shipping got shut off,
Mhm.
and so were you dealing with that with your tarot deck? Because I know there were
I
some
did,
people
yes.
that were not being as patient as they should have been, like really throwing creators kind of under the bus about their decks not being here on time and just being ridiculous about things that are obviously out of your guys' control.
There was a couple of, times that our printer, was completely shut down from COVID.
I get the
Then
stress to
do
even
you
do any
remember
of this.
last year when they were having all the issues with, the docks being.
Yes, backed up.
So that was also an issue, like, we didn't know once they were shipped when they would
So the
be.
boat just sat there and you didn't know when it would get unloaded or be able to start
Mhm,
shipping
yeah,
out.
so it was a bunch of stuff last year.
I've thought about, and that'll be a question I'll ask next too, because we have a lot of people. So in the group, it's called Oracle Obsessed, but we do totally accept all like Lenormand, tarot, any kind of divination, honestly. But we have a lot of people in the group that are deck creators, and we have a lot of people that want to be deck creators. So what advice would you give yourself back when you were first, you know, thinking about creating a deck, starting the process? What would
Mhm.
you give yourself as advice?
Well, it was such, I actually didn't do any research on how to create a deck. Um, I kind of just at the time I decided I wanted to create a deck, I didn't see myself really, and I couldn't find myself in decks.
Hmm.
So I knew that there was more people creating diverse decks, but I hadn't really seen them. And
Right.
so as I was reading from some of these beautiful
So
decks,
you weren't familiar with Kickstarter at all?
I was familiar with Kickstarter because I had backed Ethereal Dreams
Hmm.
and really loved it, but was like really disappointed with it because of the lack of diversity.
Yeah, I
And
don't have
so that
any.
was kind of one of the things that really made me say, I have to do this
Hmm.
for me so that I
Yeah.
can actually look at a deck and read it and understand, like feel that
Right.
connection with it.
Right.
And at the time I didn't really know how to use Photoshop. And so I decided one day I would learn Photoshop. And then I came across the iPad and learned how
Oh,
to work with Procreate, and then it was a done deal, and then I just started at the Fool, and I went through each card, one by one, in order because that works for me. I really liked
yeah.
the structure of that,
Yeah.
and really kind of learned Procreate as I was creating the deck, and so if, the early cards, weren't of the same quality as the later cards, and
Like
so then
just like the images themselves.
Yeah, just like the level of detail and skill that I learned
But
by the
these are impeccable. Like I buy a lot of indie decks. I've had a lot of Kickstarters. I don't know how I didn't see your deck on Kickstarter because I check all the time and people
Mhm.
are always posting in my group also as well. Um, did you get the full? I mean, I don't guess I've never created decks. So I really know how it goes. But if you don't reach the amount that you want, does that mean for sure you don't do the deck?
So the thing is that was really lucky for me. Sorry, I'm so hot in my
Oh, you're
in
fine.
right now. So if you just see me like constantly rubbing on my hair, I'm trying to all over the place. So I used to run a subscription box business. It was called Revolve Box. And so I had an email list of many hundreds, maybe a few thousand people.
Yeah, yeah,
And
nice.
then of course I have my metaphysical shop. And
Yeah,
so I had
little head
what
start there.
helped me is that I had already a customer base that I
Yeah.
could tap. And then also the Alley Man had just come out, or he had just finished his campaign. And I had been back and forth with him throughout his campaign because I was designing a deck and I wanted to be in his
The
deck. And
Alley Man's a tarot also?
Mhm. He is the biggest Kickstarter ever. He did 1.25
Bigger than
million.
White Sears. Alley Man. I'm gonna have to look that up.
And what he did is he made a deck of like 120 cards, and he just had deck creators that have already created decks submit cards. So it has like 13 death cards.
There's another deck like that there that did multiple artists. I don't remember what it's
There's
called
quite
right
a
now.
few, but what he did is he found people who had already created decks and just
Okay.
had them like submit cards, like, you know. And so I reached out to him, and he had like 100,000 people on his Kickstarter. And I asked
Wow.
him on the first day of my release if he would share my deck with his
Yes.
people, and he
Yes.
did.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, so that really was like a boost as well.
So
So I was
not just
like
in on Kickstarter, like the Kickstarter Tarot King helping to get your name. Well, that's
yeah,
amazing. So you did get fully funded.
it's really about people sharing you. Like I reached
Yeah.
out to different creators on Instagram and asked
Yeah.
if they would share my post and things like that.
Yeah. That's why finally I'm like, what am I doing? I have this huge group and we're just kind of sharing decks willy-nilly. Like, and there's a lot of like the Hay House and the mass market. And
Mhm.
for myself as a collector, if I could go back and give myself advice, is not that I don't want any mass market decks, but you only have so much room. Where I'm at is it's like I don't have enough space for all this. And the mass market decks are going to always be there, but get out there and start supporting. Just like with Shop Local, you want to be really helping the little guy out there. But as
I
a
mean,
collector
they're so
standpoint,
special. I mean, those decks that are made
yes,
by somebody who um, made it themselves and then launched a Kickstarter and then had to print
right,
it themselves, had to ship it themselves. It's such a different experience than, sending it off to a printer. And,
absolutely,
not to say that if somebody from, Hay House was to reach out to me and say, "Hey, we're really interested in your deck," I might
yeah.
be
You need to
interested
be
in that.
you
But
need to be ready for that because I mean this tarot deck. Well, so with this, are you going to be doing any other? Um, you had when we spoke the first time. I think you said you had just under 200 decks left of the Cosmic Seed.
yes,
So
I'm
once those are
about
gone, what is the deal?
I will probably do a second edition sometime next year, and I'm gonna change the box so that
Okay.
it's a different, thing. I'm a collector as well,
Mhm.
and,
I usually
first of
buy
the
two decks. I'm probably going to buy another one of because I like to have one I can use and then one I can save.
yeah, so that's how I feel too. Like, I really like to collect, decks, especially, certain ones that once they go out of print or once the edition is gone, you kind of have something special.
Yes.
And so I did that purposely with this deck as well. I wanted to make sure that when I make the second edition, I'll probably change one card and change the box. So
Yeah.
that's
So the
it's
people that got in early and got the first edition still have something
Mhm.
unique and something special as a collector, but the people that didn't get it can still obviously the deck's amazing. There's so many cards that are my favorite, but I don't know what it was about this Seven of Cups, which I think is just like there's always a glare on my lighting, but I just love this Seven of Cups so much with those little globe glasses. Like Seven of Cups to me, in like the traditional Rider Waite, it's kind of a scary, ominous, like you have these choices, but it feels like all the choices are kind of not great. Versus with this one, you can see some that look actually beautiful and good, and some that might look a little bit like you might want to be wary of. I love that card so much. I wanted to point out some.
It's one of my favorites too.
It's so good. That was one of my questions. What is your favorite tarot card? It could be in your deck or just in general, like out of all tarot, what's your favorite card?
Well, I mean, I've always loved the High Priestess.
You're a high priestess. I'm a hermit girl. I love the
Oh, I love
hermit.
the Hermit too. I do love the Hermit.
I'll tell you something that rocked me about the high priestess because I study, hermeticism and different, like more esoteric. And I studied a deck it's a group called the Brotherhood of Light, and they have an Egyptian deck.
Mm-hmm.
And it was are you familiar with the deck?
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Brotherhood of Light Egyptian Tarot, but um, their system's kind of different because they consider the pentacles air and the swords are earth. So I don't love that, and I'm not switching my philosophy, but I like to still study their system.
I've seen
But
I've seen the swords and the wand switch too somewhere.
I there's a deck that I got sent. Gosh, it's up on my desk. It's like a very rainbowy, very like unicorn. It was an independent person. She switched something as well. I'm just gonna stick to the elements that they
Yeah.
make sense to me the way they are. But that was the first time that I read that the high priestess is the virgin. She's the veiled Isis. And the empress is the unveiled Isis.
Oh,
But
interesting.
never ever in my wildest dreams would I look at the high priestess and think, oh, virginal. Like she seems like a woman of owning her sexuality, owning her power, and I'm not that she can't be all those things, But when I read that she was like the archetype of the virgin, it just
Interesting.
floored me. Yeah. And then because the empress, which a lot of times is shown as pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So of course we know she's not virgin.
Mm-hmm.
But
and my empress was the Guadalupe too.
Yes, I love that. So, and I wanted to ask
like
about
virginal.
what is your cultural background?
Sorry,
Your
I'm trying to get to the corner of this.
I know, sorry. We're both gonna need to get like a neck massage when we're done.
So what did you just ask me? Sorry.
About your cultural background.
My background. Okay, so yes. My mother is Mexican, my father's Puerto Rican, and but we did that, I did the ancestry thing, and like so much of my background is Spanish and Portuguese, and also African because of the Puerto Rican. Had a lot of African influence, and
I've never done that. I don't know why. I'm like scared. I'm like, I think about it all the time and I want to do it, but I just have never done the DNA.
Yeah, I think I have 18 different regions in the world. So
wow.
all over Europe.
I'm looking for our Guadalupe right now.
Yeah, she's the empress.
I had it all in order, and then I did my full moon reading with this deck. So then I got it all shuffled up. I should have put it back in order. Of course, I loved because I love Egyptian everything. I didn't always, but just recently. I originally was more like into the Hindu, pantheon, gods and goddesses. And just recently I had, not recently, it's probably been a couple years. Have you ever had a quantum healing hypnosis, a QHHT session?
No.
Have you heard of Dolores Cannon?
Yes.
Okay, so Dolores Cannon's the
Between,
one that
like, between
started
life
that.
kind of thing.
Past life,
Like
hypnosis,
between lives,
regression,
like what happens to you between and where you come from beyond the earth and all
all of
that.
it.
Yeah.
She's had people that have like gone back to past lives, people that have gone back to before they were like just a particle in space, people that go to the future, people, all different things. But
Mhm.
I had a few that were in Egypt, so I loved the card with both on it. So good, which is the teacher, of course, which is good because I hate the Hierophant. I don't want to say hate because that's a strong word, but I dislike the Hierophant
Mhm.
because I
Well,
dislike that
I wanted to
power
change that.
structure.
I want it to feel like, accessible.
You did because other people that will always tell me, Rhiannon, you just have to look at the, the light side because every card has the light and the shadow. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But I have a lot of religious trauma. Um, I'm born and raised in Utah, raised hardcore LDS, like very staunch. And so when you've had that type of religion like shoved down your, throat, when
Mhm.
I see that archetype, I dislike. And all this time learning tarot and studying, everybody always tries to get me to try to look at the teacher aspect of that, the higher learning aspect of it. But you just see the image that you see.
Mhm.
And the image is what evokes the emotional reaction that you have to it.
True.
So you literally did change the game for me with this card because I have a connection with both already. And so to see that, that's like, okay, now um, I can finally see that part of that card. I've known it's always there, but it
That makes
doesn't feel
me
like
happy.
that. Yeah, I love it so much.
Mhm.
Um, okay, I gotta go back to my questions. But when you were talking about your store, so does it have a website? Do you do like shipping or is it just in person only?
Well, right now we are in person. We are expanding and moving to a new location soon, and once we do that,
Mhm.
we are hoping to hire someone who can kind of rock out a website for us and
Yeah.
set us up with a shopping, in a
So
shopping
for now, follow your Instagram.
our you can follow my Instagram. The shop Instagram is, alchemy.ritual.goods,
Dot
and my
good.
Instagram is the.cosmicseed.
Yeah, I'll put those links in the video. Um, okay, so since you are using the word ritual too, what is your practice or what would you know, do you call it a name or are you just eclectic with your main spiritual
With my
practices?
spirituality,
Uh-huh.
um, so I grew up Catholic. I
Hmm.
went to Catholic school, and so I was very much
In
kind of
Colorado?
in
Were you raised in Colorado or where?
Yes, I was raised in Colorado. I went to Catholic school from 5th grade all the way to 10th grade, and my mom actually worked for the church, and so I was very much a part of the church for a long time.
Yes. Yes.
I had kind of a spiritual awakening when I moved away from Denver, and I was an artist. I was doing some drawings, and I wanted to find some Greek goddesses as examples, and I went to
Hmm.
the library and looked up goddess books and found, like, the goddess religion, like,
Like Dionysus type, like, is that what it was called? What was it called?
like, this wasn't even Greek. This is
Oh,
just
before Greek. Okay.
Yeah, this is just, like, really early, goddess worship, and I was just shocked and floored, and then it just started me on this path of, exploration, and I read about Buddhism and, um, Taoism, and I found out more about, like, Wicca, and I just started checking it all out, and so I started probably meditating maybe age 19 or 20.
What type
So
of meditation do you do?
whatever comes. Sometimes it's breathing, sometimes
Yeah.
it's silent, sometimes, um, it's guided.
Have you ever
So
done Have you ever done TM, transcendental meditation, or heard of
I
it?
haven't done like classes, but
Yeah.
I've worked with mantras.
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
mantra, you get your own mantra with TM, and you don't tell it to anybody, which I like that kind of sacredness of
Mhm.
it. I was lucky to find a teacher that had studied under the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and because once he died and they turned it to tm.org, now it's like something ridiculous, like 2,000 or $4,000, something like, are you kidding me, to learn how to meditate? Like
Yeah.
something ridiculous. But
Yeah.
he didn't agree with that. So he was still continuing the tradition of how he was taught.
Mhm.
So luckily, and this was like in 2010 or something around there, and I was lucky enough to get in with him. And I do, but before that, I had tried all these different types of meditation, and I overthink everything to a place that is ridiculous. So there was something about having my own mantra that I
Mhm.
guess made me feel connected to, like, it's mine.
Yeah.
But
No, no, I get that. That's really special, honestly.
yeah, it's cool. But yes, you can do it with Soham or any meditation with it.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah.
that started to awaken you. This was your
Mhm.
awakening.
And then, just since then, it's just been a continual deepening of, my understanding of my mission here, which I believe, oh my gosh, where am I?
You're still on, but yeah, the rock one, yeah, there we go.
Is is to be here and to be part of the awakening of humankind.
That was one of my questions, was your mission, number
Yes,
5.
their divinity, to help people understand that they are infinite
Yes.
beings, aspects of source energy. And so that's a part of my process, and I'm able to share that through my tarot readings and through the work that I do at
So do
my shop.
you do readings at your store in person?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, amazing. Do you do any readings online, or can people
I
get readings from
don't
you any other way?
No, my life is really full,
Yeah.
and so I
So
keep
go to
it
Denver if you want a reading.
I keep it to that part of my life, to my shop, because I'm very, I do have the hermit as one of my other, like, love cards, is the
Yes.
hermit. I
Yes.
do try to protect my personal time. It's very hard.
The older I get, like, I mean, I'm in my 44th year. I'll be 45 this December. And if you would have told me that I was going to be a hermit 10 years ago, because with my Leo moon and my Aries rising, I was like FOMO. I needed to be out, and I needed to be doing, and I needed to be there. And if I was missing out on anything, it was not for me. But now I'm like, no, no, I'm fine. Um, so I totally understand that. Do
They
you teach
they
classes from
call
your?
us antisocial extroverts.
Yes, yes, because I do love to connect to people still, but it
Mhm.
needs to be very in its time and place. And this whole online world has made that available to me, which is amazing. Um, but it's definitely pushed me further into my hermit, which is my office. Like, this is just my sanctuary. This is where I'm at. I wake up, I come down, I'm here all day, whether I'm working or not, because I'm studying and I'm doing what I want to do. And
Mhm.
how do you ever go back from that? There's no way we could ever go back to the matrix, right? Once you leave, you cannot go back.
Agreed.
Cannot go back. I noticed that you had tattoos, and I have a lot of tattoos, but when I got my fingers tattooed with the tarot symbols, gosh, my lighting's
Oh,
horrible.
oh, I
This
see.
was this was, and then this is just some other random symbols, but this was my fuck you to corporate America. This was my, like, okay, this is it. I'm never going back. I better make this work, because
Mhm.
if it doesn't, I don't care. I'm never, ever, ever, ever going back to that life. So ain't nobody gonna hire somebody with a pentacle on their pointer finger. I don't think. But so
I
I
have
love it.
I don't know if you can see mine. Let's see. You
Yes,
can
you
kinda
a moon.
see, yeah, I don't know.
Yes, I need to add. I'm gonna add some, because I figure now I might as well just go with it. Go all the way. Okay, so last day to order the awakening. So it's the Oracle of Awakening. It's the
It's
the
Oracle of
Oracle of Awakening.
Awakening. Mhm.
And
It's in
last day for them to order that on Kickstarter is
so, the first couple days of October is gonna start to wind down, and so the nice thing about backing on Kickstarter, if you've never done it, is that you don't pay until the last day. So you can back it now, and you wouldn't get charged till October 5th.
and even then you don't get charged the full because you don't then have to pay for shipping until it's ready to ship,
I
right?
charge for shipping because,
Okay, smart.
I charge a flat rate.
I'm actually glad you said that because I've been confused actually a lot of times I'll not have to pay another payment and then a lot of times like right before it goes I'm paying for something. I'm like, okay, I thought I
No,
paid
I
for it.
mean, because I've been in the shipping business and the subscription box business for so long, like, I can
Mhm.
get really good rates, I know where to get them.
But you're no longer doing the boxes, or are you?
No, I let that go a few years
Okay.
ago, really
Okay.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
I just think it's nicer to just pay up front and be done.
Right. Okay. So first, we'll just call it the 1st of October so people don't procrastinate.
Yes.
The deck is amazing. I showed it from her Kickstarter campaign on the unboxing of the Cosmic Seed Tarot. So anybody that wants to go watch that, it's up on YouTube right now. Your biggest influence in your spirituality or awakening, whether that's a person in your family, a celebrity, an author.
So I feel like early on, Deepak was really, really,
I used to be into
helpful.
Deepak.
And
I'm not
then
into him anymore, but I was.
yeah, same. And then later on, there's been so
Were
many.
you an
Oh,
Oprah? Did you watch Oprah?
I did used to, yes.
Yeah, every day I
Eckhart
watched.
Tolle. Yeah, I used to love Eckhart. I'll tell you what's still current for me and it's been going on for about 5 years now that I feel like it's the most transformational texts that are being recorded on the earth right now.
Ooh, I'm excited. Okay.
Um, the Book of Mastery.
I have not heard of this book, so now
I
tell me
listen to
more.
them. I don't know if you prefer book reading or audio.
I do both. I do both.
I do both too, and I really prefer this in audio,
Okay.
because often there is something to repeat. There are these beautiful things that they have you repeat. There are these and you're saying them and you're bringing this energy into your being, and it's hard to explain if you don't check it
So
out, but
it's like a movement. It's not just a book. It's like a theme. It's like a
and it really is the most expansive undertaking of really understanding who we are as, infinite beings on the planet and,
wow.
um, coming to an understanding and an acceptance of ourselves as much beyond what we think we are, and it's 3 books,
Okay.
and then after he's completed those 3, he moved on to,
Who's he?
3 more. Paul Selig,
Paul
S-E-L-I-G, S
Sali
S-E-L-I-G,
Seli.
and it is channel text,
Wow. And who does he say who or what he channels?
Melchizedek.
Melchizedek. Nice. Well, I just got down another rabbit hole. Thanks a lot. No, I'm just
Well,
kidding.
it's gonna rock your world. It's gonna rock your world in the most
I will
beautiful.
report back for sure on this because um yeah. Okay, so when did you get introduced to this and how?
So I started reading audiobooks, listening to audiobooks because what I found was that I love YA, and what I found was that fiction and some sci-fi and fantasy, I could go through a book with no problem. But
Mhm.
when it came through to like spiritual texts, I was having a hard time getting through them in the last like 10 years for some reason. And I'd start them and be like, oh, this is the most wonderful book. And I just would never finish them.
Right.
And I realized that if I would listen to them, then every
Mhm.
time I was driving or walking or
Yeah,
doing,
in the
other
shower, whatever.
things, that I could actually get through books. And so that even in this space in between, getting from one place to another, I was in spiritual study, and I really loved that.
Yeah.
And so, I found them just by going
So they're on
through
Audible or what?
Audible. Yep.
Okay. Girl, I got some credits, so those will be in add to cart tonight.
Mhm,
I even
mhm.
like to sometimes buy the book and the audiobook and listen when I'm busy and doing whatever. And then I agree, I can make it through the book. But then occasionally, if I'm really like, okay, I want to really absorb this, I will sit down and read it as I listen to it just to
Wow.
really,
I never
yeah,
thought of
yeah. Not every book is going to be, you know, that level. But if you really want to like get it,
it's the kind of book where if I had had the book, it probably would have saved me a lot of time because I would pause and then pull out my journal and then write whole
wow.
paragraphs of things that was said, and I'd have to go back and back and back, so it would have been nice to have a book that I could highlight piles of it
And
'cause
have you read other like channel materials like the raw material or
I did read the Book of
Course in
Ra.
Miracles? Trying to think of other ones.
Read the Book of Ra. I read,
And
a
this,
a
knowing
few.
that you've been in those other spaces, this for you was like the
This
game changer.
is so I work in frequency,
Hmm.
right? So everything that we emanate
Hmm.
is frequency. Everything we're experiencing is frequency.
Right.
And so depending on the frequency that you are emanating, that's what you're experiencing. As we know, we think about it as um, thoughts become things, etc.
Hmm.
But it's not just thoughts; it's your energy. It's what you're putting out into the universe.
Right.
This book, this series of books, is really the most high frequency material that I've come across.
Ugh,
It's so pure.
so excited. And how long have these books been around? You know?
I don't know, but I would say I've been listening to them for about 5 years.
Okay.
And I think there was a trilogy that he did before the Book of Mastery, but I started at the Book of Mastery and I went back and I'd still love the Book of Mastery as the first start.
Okay. But there were books that came before that.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll have to look everything up. But um, well, that's very exciting because I wasn't expecting to get, my own little task here tonight. So I love that. Um, but you were obviously, on your awakening journey way far, far before that. It's just that this has
Yes,
really leveled you.
I'm 48, so 30 years I've been on my spiritual path.
How long?
29, actually, 29 years.
What was your wake up back then?
That
All
was when I discovered the goddess material.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Sorry, we got
Yes,
sidetracked.
and so I was 19 when I came
Yeah,
across that. And,
ever since you've just been on that mission.
yes, I knew it was like an awakening for me, like, I knew
How
I
how does
meditated.
mom feel about it? Is she okay?
Well, mom actually left the church as soon as I left the house. She
Wow.
said that she wanted to have, a spiritual foundation for us,
Yeah,
and so she had grown up Catholic, and
yeah,
so that
yeah.
made sense.
More of like a traditional thing too, like it's your heritage and here.
But she actually joined a coven after leaving the church. I mean, she's not there anymore, but I mean, she was also on a journey, and so
Don't you
when
think a little bit of that is like tied to how you're a chain breaker? And then like when you came in and broke that chain, then it goes back and forward. So
Mhm,
you open it up for everybody that comes after you, but it also gets to go back. I just got the chills.
true.
And I heard a story earlier of a woman saying this just happened this month. She's like, I decided to quit drinking and I'm on 27 days, whatever. And she didn't even tell her mom, and her mom's like an alcoholic like her whole life. And all of a sudden her mom calls and says, I quit drinking, and they quit on the same day. Her mom did not know. And
Wow.
that, yeah, like when you break that chain, it goes
Yeah,
back
and
and
it
forward because
definitely
there's no
happened the
time.
same year.
Wow.
Yep.
That is so amazing. So she's fine with it. And now she's is she still here with us?
Yeah, she's here, and we're
Okay,
very
good.
close, and, we're able to have really deep spiritual talks and
Yeah. But
yeah.
at least Catholicism in Mexico, they're more open to like,
There's a lot of ritual.
yes, a
Mhm.
lot, and
And there's
I'm
still,
guessing in
even in
Puerto Rico.
Mexico now, they kind of blend a lot of the kind of more pagan style,
Yes,
traditional Aztec ritual with Catholicism.
right. So it's not like
Mhm.
it's a huge leap if she would have been, not as open to leave the church, but that's just so cool to me that it happened at the same time. That's amazing. Okay, so then I think I have all those are all the questions that I have, and I don't want to keep you all night, but um I guess just is there any message that's on your heart right now, or just anything that you would want to, it could be about your decks, it can be about anything, just that wants to, I do think in Mercury retrograde, as much as we can have the glitches with the electronics and stuff, at
Mhm.
least for me, I always feel like this need to purge and like say all the things. So
Yes.
just any
Um,
last thoughts?
I can talk about kind of what's been really present for me is really understanding the shadow aspect of ourselves. Um, I think that, understanding that the shadow is the unowned places in ourselves,
Hmm.
and that now as we're going through spiritual awakening as a world,
Right.
that one of the things that is really important is to um, understand that the shadow is kind of like this current that's running in the back of the mind all the time.
Hmm.
And so we're thinking, "Oh, I've repressed this part of myself and or, there's something I'm just not gonna deal with."
Like,
But
you think
actually,
that's part of the ego, or do you see those like as separate?
I think it's the thing that is constantly expressing itself in your life,
Hmm.
but we don't necessarily realize how much power it has. And so you can look at it as the ego or as an aspect of the ego, or maybe the ego is built partially from it. But I just think it's really important to bring your love to all of yourself. And
Hmm.
so,
Including the ego, because I feel like the ego for a long time, and maybe that was part of our spiritual growth. Like we have to eat baby food before we eat the steak,
Mhm,
right? We needed to learn how to identify the ego, but then we went into demonizing it, and the
mhm,
ego is there for a purpose. It keeps us safe,
mhm.
it has so I feel like shadow work a lot is incorporating back and loving the
Yes.
ego,
It's
because
like
now we
really
can identify it, we can call
coming
ourselves
in
out in it.
coming into non-judgment,
Yeah,
self-forgiveness,
yeah.
self-love, all these things that, all the places in ourselves that we just deny or haven't allowed ourselves to express or feel. And so, I mean, I think that's so important because as we're evolving spiritually, in order to truly do that, you have to explore your whole self and really
Mhm.
truly accept your whole self. And so that's been really
And
present for
that's
me.
what we can accept other people's whole selves too,
Exactly.
and not until we have accepted our shadow can we really truly accept other people,
I
which is
agree.
what we need for sure right now, to just be able to acceptance for all um, beings. I think we're getting there. I have a new hope just very recently. I would say like in the last maybe 2 or 3 months, where I'm thinking, okay, I think we're gonna make it. I think we're gonna be okay. I don't know what timeline shift happened or what, but after the craziness of the last 2 years, and just feeling like a heaviness and a kind of a like, oh God, like now finally I just go, I don't know how, but I just feel like it's okay. Like it's all gonna
I
just be
feel
okay.
like the thing is that the more and more people who are truly on a path of, spiritual awakening and unconditional love and so on,
Mhm.
understanding that every word and every thought that you're having is going out into the world and also impacting everyone else. And so as more
Right.
and more people awaken, then they're impacting more and more people. And so it really
Yeah.
is like a wonderful
The
that's
the what do they call it? The 100 monkey
the
theory,
100.
right?
Mhm, exactly.
I always forget. Is it 1,000 monkeys? Was it a
It's a
hundred?
100
I don't
monkey,
know.
yeah, the 100th monkey.
I'm glad. So that's even less that we need.
Yeah, well, supposedly they said
100.
144,000 awakened
Yeah,
beings. I think we are beyond that now.
I
On a
agree.
planet with, over 6 billion people, you think about just the monks of Nepal, just by
Right.
themselves, monks,
Yeah.
all the monks in the world,
They
it's got
really laid in the footwork to get us here. I'm sure they played a real important part of that. But yeah, I do feel that. And so, I know that your Oracle deck is going to be a great tool for other people on their awakening. Um, oh, okay. We just all of a sudden had some updated chats. I don't know if anybody else was spamming. I wasn't paying attention because I was so interested in everything that you had to say. But I guess I can give a last call just to see if anybody that was watching had a question that they wanted to ask. But I think a lot of people are watching on Facebook and the comments are the StreamYard makes the people on Facebook like register to be able to comment, but on YouTube they don't. I don't understand the background behind that. But um the guidebook with the is the Oracle coming with a guidebook?
So the oracle's coming with the guidebook. So the tarot came with the guidebook, but I didn't really go into the, significance of the images that I used,
Yeah,
more
just like a
out of
little white book, a little
yeah.
purple book.
More out of, time, trying to get my
Yeah,
time trying to get it out in time. I do actually hope to make an extended version of that at some point and sell it separately. The Oracle, I'm very intentionally I mean, it's called the Oracle of Awakening, and I want it to really truly be that, so that,
yeah,
really you can just pull one card and feel like, you've had something move you, in that experience of communing with that card. So that's important to me.
yeah. I am excited for that part too because I some of my favorite Kickstarter decks. Well, one of them is the Light Seers, but what I loved about that was Chris Ann's guidebook. That guidebook was like, and when she did the mass market, that book is not the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, unfortunately. And I actually even reached out to her and I was like, are you, can you because I want to try to keep that the Kickstarter version like as pristine as possible. But the guidebook's so good and I'm already like damaging it. So I was like, are you gonna be able to sell it? And for some reason they're not gonna let her
She
copyright
doesn't have
something they're not.
she doesn't have rights to it anymore. That's what happens when you give it over, you give
They
away
got the
the rights.
rights, but then they changed so it's a lot of it's the same, but it's very much condensed. So
Yeah.
like in the full version, like each card has like 3 pages, 3.5, 4 pages, because she really goes into the shadow side, right? Which is great.
Mhm.
And you get it's still a great guidebook, even the mass market, but it's still not the same.
You
So
know, so I didn't really connect with the Light Seers. I got both. I got the Muse and the Light Seers when it came out. And
I didn't get music.
Light Seers wasn't I'm such a visual person and I didn't fall in love with the artwork. And so I sold it and I am kicking myself.
How much did you sell it for?
You don't wanna know.
I don't,
Like
because I know you
barely
can sell it
over
for
what I bought it
600
for
now.
with the extra card. Yeah, it's a sad story. I learned my lesson.
Lesson learned. Lesson learned. That's why I buy 2 decks. I learned with Benebel's decks,
Oh,
because
I
I've
wish.
got the Vitruvian and the Revelation. I ordered 2 of the Revelation. And I sold it and made a profit, but I was like selling it for a reasonable amount. I'm not going to go selling it for like $500-600. I sold it for like 250 or something.
Yeah. Did
Um,
you get Luna?
huh?
The ethereal from the
I
ethereal
didn't. I don't have any of those ones now.
the Luna
Because
is
there's a couple
phenomenal.
versions, right?
Well, he did the Luna, and the Luna has all of the diversity in it.
Um, I I just maybe like the algorithm on Kickstarter because they suggest things, right?
Yeah, I always have to type in tarot and type in oracle separately. to get a list of what's actually
Okay.
current.
Okay. So here, maybe this can be a good way to wind down. What do you have any decks right now that you're waiting for that are on Kickstarter?
Oh my gosh, I have been waiting for. So the deck, the golden something, it's a circle deck, black with. Anyway, that was over a year ago, and she's had printing problems ever since. It's an astrology deck, and it's tarot,
Ooh.
and I'm super
Ooh.
excited about that. And also, oh, did you see the Eternal Dreams? That looks like it's
No.
gonna be beautiful. Then the
Okay. I'll
Octopus
hold that.
Tarot, I've been waiting for that for ages.
Which one?
The Octopus?
Oh, I did see that one. Yeah, I did see that one. I don't do a lot of animal decks. I always think they're beautiful, but I just don't. I don't. And what's the funny thing is, I don't read with any of these decks. I just collect them.
I probably read with 2 decks, and one of my favorite decks to read with is, the Mystical Moments Tarot, and that's a mass market. That one and my own, pretty much that's all I read with
By
anymore.
who? Who's Mystical Moments by?
Oh my gosh, do I have it here? I don't even have it here, I have it at the
Huh.
shop. It's so freaking cool, it's very, like, surreal. Check it out. It's a Hay House. Is it? No, it's
If it
not
was
Hay
Hay House, I bet I'd have it.
US Games, it's US Games.
Okay, because I was like, back when Hay House would do the $5 deck sale,
Oh, yeah.
girl, that's too cheap. Okay, that is too cheap. I don't have enough
I'll just take them
room.
all.
I have too much, but I can tell you that I did pretty well because I had purchased a bunch of extra Doreen Virtue decks, and because I used to use them to teach Oracle classes.
Yeah.
And when she went,
The
you
other
know,
way.
the other way, and they all of a sudden became like super.
I wish.
Yeah, so I had an extra past life. I had an extra. Um, there was like 3 or 4 that I had extra. Now, any of the ones that she did with Bradley Valentine, he's come out with again. So now they're not worth shit again. So
Mm.
luckily, I sold them also in the right timing because tarot. Who knew that this tarot community world would be like also like you can make money just being
Dog
smart.
dog with the tarot sales.
Doggy
Just
dog.
kidding.
Yeah. That's why I was so thrilled to I mean, of course, I hope you triple, quadruple your goal. So that's why,
Dude, I
everybody
would love
watching this and
to.
watching on the playback, go check out her Oracle. It's amazing. I know that the quality of this deck, because I've gotten some that I've liked, but I didn't think the quality was amazing. Like which for me as a collector, I'm not going to ruin it anyway, but I know that this is a deck you could actually read with and it's going to stand the test of time. I feel like after I seen this, and I'm not saying it, I think I might have said it in the unboxing. I'm not saying it to like float your boat. I feel like this is going to be one of those decks that people are like, oh shit, how did I not see that? It's going to go big after it's gone.
Mhm. Yeah, it's not
So
too far
don't
from that. We're not
so
too far from.
don't wait and be one of those people. Get it right now so that you have one of the original first copies. Because I've seen for myself too many times that I should have bought an extra copy of something that just for like financials, you can not only pay for the deck you're going to keep, but make a little bit of money when all of a sudden that becomes a collector's item. And this will. I already know that it will.
I signed the first 500 copies.
And so the people that have one of those, like, hang on to those for sure. But even if they're not signed, it's still going to be worth
Mhm.
certainly more than you're going to pay right now. So right now, how do they get a copy of the Cosmic Seed?
So I have a website called the Cosmic Seed Sacred Goods,
Okay.
and you can also find me on Etsy.
So I'll put all of your links on there. So on which one do you prefer? Doesn't Etsy take
Yes, I
part of
prefer mine, the Cosmic
yeah,
Seed, Cosmic Seed
yeah.
sacredgoods.com.
Yeah. And for anybody that's just watching this, normally if somebody is selling something like that on Etsy, they typically do. I would look for their website just so that you deserve to make as much as you can off of your own product.
Mhm.
So yeah, anybody watching this on the playback, I'm not just saying it. It's just I've been there. Don't sleep on a deck because they can go that quick. And after something like this airs, they could be gone in the next 2 days. Hopefully they are. but if you want it, because I already had people that like, okay, where'd you get it? I want it. Don't wait because they go and then they're worth a lot and you're going to have to pay a lot to get it after they're gone. So
Mhm.
I'm just so glad that you got to spend some time with me. I'm sorry about the little technical difficulties, but we made it work with our corners of the screen here.
It was really
Well,
fun.
yeah, and I feel like I got so much out of this just with the recommendations and just what a lovely, beautiful person you are. And I'm just so
Thank
glad that we got to connect.
Me too.
And I'll let you know what I think about the books after I start listening to them.
I would love that. Reach
Is
out
there
again.
like, do you know if there's any study groups or anything like that?
That's a really good question. I don't know.
Well, I'll find out and I'll let you
Okay,
know if I find some.
sweet. I know that I know he tours
He does
and
tour.
retreats. Mhm.
Okay. Well, I do have friends in Denver, so when I am there next, I will 1,000,000,000% be popping into that
Talk to my
store
chef.
for
Oh, you know
to meet
what?
them.
You know what else you might love is the Sophia Code.
Oh, yes, have. Hmm.
Awesome.
Now, I was only had been listening to that because I like
Mhm.
to do one at a time. And I'm thinking to myself to do I keep using the wrong word, but let's call it an ignition because it's essentially like a activation. Not they did a better word, right? Um, to me, how am I going to do that when I'm reading it? I want to listen to it.
Understood.
Somebody
I
pointed
totally
out to me that in the beginning of the book, she specifically said that you need to read it out loud. You need to read
it's
it.
the frequency, right, of your voice vibration.
Yeah, so now
And
I
so
gotta buy
that's
it.
what I did, is I just read it, and sometimes it was
No.
like 20 pages of
But once somebody said that to
fun.
me, it made sense. The frequency of your voice. I agree. So even though I've listened to the whole book and now I'm gonna buy it. I buy a ton of used books. And but if the author's still able to get money, I'll buy it new. But
Mhm.
anyways, yes, I'm gonna get that. But so who was your favorite out of that?
Hathor.
Hathor, me too.
Because
Me
Hathor travels into all of her lifetimes through her own
I have to
electron.
show you something real fast. Hold on. So, after listening to Hathor, which even though I had been, really resonating with the Egyptian pantheon for a while, I really wasn't familiar with Hathor, working with Isis and, not Hathor. So, I connected with her very strongly as well. Then through her on this last Lionsgate, Sekhmet came through.
Mm, wow.
I was doing a Lionsgate workshop, and at the last like 3 days, Sekhmet came through and literally took over the whole thing and was like, this is what we're doing. We're bringing forth the sacred, feminine rage, like the part. So
Wow.
Sekhmet and Hathor are the same goddess, but Sekhmet is
Like
her
the dark goddess.
rage.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
That's powerful.
And then Hathor's the healer and the nurturer and the mother. So definitely went down a whole rabbit hole of Sekhmet, but got on Etsy and I found this Hathor incense.
Oh,
The
awesome.
the name of the shop is called The Empress and the Hierophant.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
When the box came, it brought me to tears. The smell was
Mm.
so familiar and so powerful. I'm
Wow.
not. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm not that showy. Kind of, it's hard to kind of blow me out of the water.
Mhm.
An emotional response, and when I burn these, they're just like nothing I've ever seen before.
I'm gonna
They're
look
like
it up.
they're wet. Like
Okay.
I know that you can, and I make my own incenses all the time from resins but this is like I don't know what they're doing, but they have a set that you can get that Hathor came in like a smaller bag, and I burned through that in like 3 weeks, and then I went back and got the bigger one, worth every penny. And now I've got all the planets, all the elements. There are some other deities I can't remember, but if you like Hathor and you work with Hathor, I don't know who this person is. I don't have any affiliation, But if something can bring me to tears at the mailbox, like, and I have like the community mailbox that you have to like go unlock, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah. And so I
I'll check.
never did go back and do like, I read it and listened to it, but I want to go back and actually do it and say it.
Yes. Well, you know, they do have online book groups that do it together as well.
For the Sophia codes?
Mhm. It's like circles.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on where did you find, like, am I looking on Facebook or where?
You can find local people awesome. I mean,
Oh,
online
in
as
Utah?
well.
In Utah?
I don't know about Utah.
I might have to drive to Colorado to be in the Sophia code group. I could maybe start one, but
Exactly.
okay.
And so
Yeah, I know that, but
you would just bring people together like you're doing now, and then
yeah,
everybody in your group would read a page and then pass it around. So that
okay.
everybody gets to read and partake in that
And
experience.
you've done a group experience of
So
one?
I'm going to, once we open our new space, once we move, we're gonna have classroom space, and we're gonna do book club.
Well, get some Hathor for that because
I'm going to
I would bathe in this if I mean it smells amazing, but a lot of things smell good that don't have the frequency.
exactly. It's all about the frequency.
It is the frequency, and this has the frequency. So we could just probably talk all
Yeah.
night. I could just pick your brain, but um, my husband wants to be able to be noisy again, and my dogs need to get in and out. So thank you. Truly, it was like such an honor to the frequency brought us together. Always brings the right people at the
I
right
know, isn't
time.
that interesting?
So I will be cheering you on. I'm going to be backing the deck. I just wanted to wait until after we did the call, and I wish you all the success and
Thank
abundance.
you. I'm sure
And
we'll
hopefully
connect
we meet
again.
again. Yeah, I think we will too.
Okay. Many
Okay.
blessings. Thank you.
You too. Good night.